Gabrielle adjusted the collar of her blouse, trying to look more professional. The upscale store where she worked was almost empty on that Tuesday afternoon, allowing her gaze to wander through the gleaming display window, where mannequins showcased clothes that cost more than her monthly salary. At 24 years old, she had already developed an enviable skill of hiding discomfort when customers asked her name only to never use it, treating her afterwards like an accessory of the store. Since childhood, Gabrielle had accompanied her parents to the Madison mansion. Valerie, her mother, was the head housekeeper, while her father, Sebastian, had served as the family's driver for almost 2 decades. The mansion, with its marble floors and spiral staircase, seemed like something out of a dream that did not belong to her, but fueled her secret ambitions. It was in that environment that she met Alice Madison, the only daughter of the owners and the same age as Gabrielle. Contrary to what one might expect, Alice always treated her with kindness, without the invisible barrier that normally separated the rich from the employees. "Gabby, try this one," Alice would say when they were teenagers, tossing a dress onto the bed. "It's been in the closet all year. No one will notice." Those moments when she wore Alice's clothes were like windows into an alternate reality, one where Gabrielle didn't have to count coins at the end of the month, or wait for sales at department stores. The store's bell rang, pulling her out of her memories. A sophisticated woman, around 50 years old, walked in with the demeanor of someone used to being attended to immediately. "Good afternoon, may I help you?" Gabrielle offered her best commercial smile. "I need something for a charity event this weekend," the woman replied, barely looking at her. "Something discreet, but that clearly shows it cost a fortune." For the next hour, Gabrielle shadowed the client, bringing pieces, adjusting measurements, offering suggestions that were invariably rejected, until finally, the woman chose an outfit that cost more than 3 months' rent for Gabrielle's small apartment. At the register, while swiping her platinum credit card, the woman rummaged through her renowned brand purse, and a golden envelope fell to the floor. "Your envelope, ma'am." Gabrielle hurried to pick it up. The woman looked at the envelope with disdain. "Oh, that! It's just another one of those tacky party invitations from the nouveau riche. You can throw it away for me, dear." When the client left, commission assured in her pocket, Gabrielle looked at the envelope in her hands. It was heavy, with golden edges and a real wax seal sealing it, something she had only seen in movies. Instead of throwing it in the trash, she slipped it into her bag, not thinking much about what she was doing. That night, sitting at the table of her small apartment kitchen, Gabrielle stared at the envelope. She had just heated up leftovers from the day before made by her mother, while her phone flashed with unanswered messages from Jamie. Jamie had been her boyfriend for 3 years. He was a good man, kind, dedicated, and hard-working. At 26, he worked hard as a waiter at events and restaurants, picking up gigs as a bartender to make ends meet. In recent months, he had been talking about plans to open a small bar, a dream he shared with her during late-night conversations. But Gabrielle had ended the relationship 2 weeks ago. Jamie represented the same simple life she was trying to leave behind. The same life of counted savings, modest dreams, choices limited by financial reality. She wanted more. Much more. Carefully, she opened the envelope and took out the invitation. In elegant golden letters, it read, "The Lancelotti Foundation is honoured to invite you to the annual Benefactors Ball. Attire, black tie, Saturday, 8 p.m, Lancelotti Mansion." The annual Benefactors Ball was notorious. It gathered only the elite of society, influential businessmen, and heirs to fortunes. The kind of event she only saw in celebrity magazines. A plan began to form in her mind. The next day, after work, Gabrielle went to visit her parents at the small house where they lived. After dinner, while her mother was doing the dishes, she casually mentioned, "Alice invited me for coffee tomorrow." "That's nice, dear," Valerie replied. "That girl always liked you. Send her my regards." In fact, Gabrielle hadn't spoken to Alice in months, but she needed access to her childhood friend's closet. When she arrived at the Madison mansion, she was greeted with a warm hug. "Gabby, I missed you. Why did you disappear? Alice asked, guiding her to the room. Too much work, Gabriele lied. How is fashion college going? While Alice excitedly talked about her projects, Gabriele observed the huge closet at the back of the room. After a few minutes of conversation, she confessed, Actually, Alice, I came to ask you a favour. I was invited to an important event, but I have nothing suitable to wear. Alice's eyes sparkled. I can finally transform you. You can choose whatever you want. After 2 hours of trying on dresses, Gabriele left the mansion with a dark blue dress that, according to Alice, had only been worn once at a party. With the dress carefully stored in a protective cover, she felt as if she were carrying a treasure. When Saturday arrived, Gabriele spent the entire day getting ready. She spent her savings at a beauty salon, where she had her hair and makeup professionally done. In front of the mirror in her apartment's small bathroom, she barely recognized the elegant woman staring back at her. The taxi dropped her off in front of the imposing Lancelotti mansion at 8:30 in the evening, late enough not to be the first, but not so late as to attract attention. She handed the invitation to the security guard at the entrance, holding her breath. The man glanced briefly at the paper and nodded, allowing her entry. The mansion was even more impressive inside. A huge hall, decorated with lush floral arrangements and lit by crystal chandeliers, accommodated about 500 people. Women in designer dresses and men in impeccable tuxedos chatted in small groups, champagne glasses in hand. Gabriele took a glass offered by a passing waiter and tried to appear natural, as if she frequented that type of environment regularly. She walked slowly, observing everything, when she felt eyes on her. 2 well-dressed young men approached, curiosity evident on their faces. I don't recall seeing you before, said the taller one with a confident smile. Luke, he introduced himself, extending a hand. And I'm Raphael, added the other, a bit younger with piercing eyes. From the host family. Gabriele felt her heart race, but she kept her composure. Gabriele, my family just moved to town. Gabriele what? Luke asked with poorly disguised interest. Just Gabriele, she replied vaguely, taking a sip of her drink. My father prefers discretion in business. The two seemed intrigued, which only heightened their interest. Soon they were competing for her attention, telling stories of exotic travels and business achievements. Gabriele listened, fascinated, feeling as if she had finally entered the world she had always dreamed of. His hurt look hit her like a blow, but it was quickly replaced by concern. I've worked at many parties like these, and I know these guys' reputations well. Be careful with those two. They're not what they seem. Before she could respond, Jamie was called by another guest and walked away. Luke and Raphael turned their attention to her, apparently not having noticed the brief conversation between her and the waiter. The night unfolded like a dream. Raphael took her to see the illuminated garden, showing the century-old fountain brought from another continent. Luke, not wanting to be left behind, invited her to dance when the orchestra began to play. The competition between them became increasingly evident. At a certain moment, Gabriele went to the restroom to touch up her makeup. On the way back, she passed by a small library with the door ajar. Familiar voices made her stop. 50,000 that I can take her home today, said Luke's voice. I'll double the bet, replied Raphael with a laugh. These gold diggers are all the same. Dazzled by the attention, they would do anything for a night of luxury. Did you see how impressed she was with the yacht story? I bet she's never seen anything better than a paddle boat, Luke mocked. Gabriele's blood ran cold. Reality hit her like a bucket of cold water. She was nothing more than amusement for them, temporary entertainment. She felt exposed, humiliated. Tears began to well up as she quickly moved away from the door. Without saying goodbye to anyone, she crossed the hall towards the exit. In the front garden, away from the lights and music, she finally let the tears flow freely, ruining the expensive makeup. Gabriele? Jamie's voice made her turn around. He was out of his waiter uniform, probably having finished his shift. You were right, she said between sobs. What a fool I was. Without asking for explanations, Jamie took off his coat and placed it over her shoulders. Come on, I'll take you home. In his small car, Gabriele told him everything. The stolen invitation, the borrowed dress, the charade she had created. Jamie listened silently, without judgment in his eyes. I just wanted to feel what it's like, she finally confessed. What it's like not having to worry about bills, about the future, about limits. I understand, Jamie said softly. But those people in there, they aren't happy just because they have money. You saw how they treat others like objects. Jamie, she called, not knowing exactly what to say. He looked up, surprised to see her. I came to apologize, she began, uncertain. Not just for yesterday, but for everything, for not valuing what we had. Jamie put the cloth aside and faced her seriously. Why are you telling me this, Gabby? Is it because those rich guys let you down? No, she replied with conviction. It's because I realized I was chasing something empty. Those people, that world. There's no truth there, and you were always real with me. A silence settled between them, laden with unspoken emotions. Do you think we could try again? She finally asked, her heart pounding. Jamie didn't respond immediately. He seemed to be weighing his words carefully. Gabby, I never stopped loving you, he finally said. But I need to know if you really want to be with me, with the life I can offer. I don't want to be the second choice after a disappointment. You were never the second choice, she replied, sincere tears in her eyes. I was just too blind to see what was right in front of me. Jamie reached out, gently touching her face. Then let's build something together, something real, without fantasies. Gabriele smiled through the tears. I would like that very much. 6 months later, Jamie's little bar opened its doors. Jamie's corner had just a few tables, simple decor, and a modest menu, but it was always full. Gabriele had left the luxury clothing store and was now helping with managing the bar, applying her sales knowledge in a more honest and fulfilling way. On a quiet night, while they were cleaning the bar after closing, Jamie surprised Gabriele with a small box. What is this? She asked, intrigued. Open it, he replied, smiling. Inside was a key. It's for the new apartment, Jamie explained. It's not a mansion, but it has space for both of us. And who knows, in the future, maybe for someone else. Gabriele looked at the key in her hand, simple, unadorned, but representing something that no luxury party could offer. A future built with true love and honest work. It's perfect, she said, hugging him tightly. Gabriele learned that chasing after status and appearances can distance us from what truly matters. True wealth is not found in the lights of a gala hall, but in the company of someone who values us for who we are, not for what we have. Simple dreams, when lived with love and sincerity, are more valuable than any momentary luxury. If you enjoyed the story, please leave a comment with a rating from 1 to 5 to show how much you liked it. Also, watch the video that is now appearing on your screen. See you soon.